Guys, today we're going to do a quick study session on Shaman King, which is the newest collab set in Cardfight Vanguard, and basically has flown under the radar in the West because we haven't gotten news if we're getting it or not, right? And because it's a collab set, it's mainly targeted to the new players, of course, and the fans of the series, right? But, you know, it's making its rounds in Japan, so we should at least know what it does. And if you're curious about what it does, or you make videos about JP decks, then you should probably do some research, like me. So if you're curious about the set, then come sit with me. We'll kind of go through the set, a lot of the set, not the entire set, I don't think. We're not going to go through every single card. We're going to find the key parts of each ride line and the key combos and kind of go from there, right? Because, you know, in a set, there's a lot of cards and not all of them are that useful, right? So if we just want to have a good understanding of what the decks themselves do, then this is the video for you, right? It's not going to be me just going through card by card through the entire set, giving it a rating out of 5 or something like that. No, we're just gonna look at the key pieces, the key cards, and the combos, and we're gonna do it in a way where we're gonna look at the Bushiroad lists first, right? Because Bushiroad wants to sell you product. They're gonna make decks that have certain cards and certain combos. We're gonna look at those combos, go to the next ride line, and then at the end we're gonna look at some topping lists and see how all these pieces fit in, and also explain some cards if they haven't been shown off yet and why they're used in those kind of more topping decks, right? Now, this set's gimmick is that there are two kinds of cards, right? There's mainly two kinds of cards. There is the Shamans and there's the Spirits, right? And Spirits themselves have 0 crit. So because they're Spirits, they can't interact with the real world. And there'll be certain effects that will give them crit, but just keep that in mind. Normally you'd be like, wow, plus crit, that sounds pretty cool. And now it has 2 crit. No, if it's on a Spirit, it starts doing 1 damage, right? If they have 0 crit, they deal 0 damage to the opponent. So just keep that in mind. Also, if you look here, the triggers are mainly Spirits. I think they are actually all Spirits. And because they're Spirits, they have zero crit, right? So in desperate situations, you can't plop them down and deal 1 damage because they just base have 0 damage. But to compensate for that, they have 6,000 power, right? They have 6,000. Which is it's not that amazing, but you know, it's kind of a nice fun gimmick. There's also another gimmick called Oversoul. It's pretty simple. It's just an effect tied where you put a specific card into Soul. But you'll kind of see how it goes when we go through the entire set, right? So let's kind of get started. There are basically 5 ride lines in the set, and they all kind of they'll kind of do different things. They'll give you they're similar to some decks that are already in Vanguard, but you'll kind of see, right? So the first is the Asakura Yo ride line. This is just all about Yo. And the key cards here is his ride line. He's also got Anna support. We'll take a look at the Jan, right? Jan and her spirit combo. Then we have the wooden sword Ryu. And then we've got Amida Maru. And then we'll look at the overtrade. There's some orders here that is pretty interesting, right? So this is just a quick rundown of the entire deck. These deck lists are all posted on Bushiroad, by the way. Because again, right, they want to sell you these cards. Now let's take a look at the ride line first. Some of these are already like revealed from like a couple of months ago, either on the stream Tuesdays, but we'll go through it anyway. So this is the grade 1 Yo. So when the shooter is placed on Vanguard Circle by riding from Yo Asakura, which is the grade 0, search your deck for up to 1 legendary Samurai Amida Maru, call it to your back row center, so behind this, and shuffle your deck, right? So pretty simple effect. The next one is the legendary Samurai Amida Maru that you call. So continue Vanguard Circle during your turn. If you have a Vanguard with Yo Asakura in your card name, this unit gets plus 5,000, and if that Vanguard is Oversoul this turn, this unit gets a crit. So it becomes able to deal a damage. Now, ideally, the grade 1 calls this behind. Since you have a Yo, this is boosting for 13, right? So on your grade 2 turn, when you attack, or on your grade 1, this is hitting like decent numbers, hitting 21 or 23, which is a good number to hit, right? And then when later on, it'll boost for like 13, which, yeah, it's cool. But if you put on the side comms as well, just from, well, it kind of establishes an Oversoul, right? And then if you put on the side comms, it makes those comms hit better too. So looking at the grade 2, right, the grade 2 is Battle of Fate, Yo. When this unit is boosted by a unit with Amida Maru that you set up from the grade 1, in this card, in Counterblast 1, draw a card, and this unit gets plus 5,000 to the instant. So this is hitting 15, your back row is hitting 13, 28, that's a pretty annoying column at altogether. They're basically taking the damage, and then on the Vanguard Circle, this gets 2k, which is just very, very generic and nothing important. And then lastly, we've got the grade 3 of the right line, battling the challenge together, Yo Asakura. The Oversoul effect is once per turn, put a Regard with Amida Maru in its card name, and draw a card, and it's the end of turn, all your front row units get power plus 5,000. So you're basically making everything hit numbers. And then when this unit attacks, if your damage zone has 4 or more cards, counterblast 1, and this unit gets critical plus 1 until the end of turn. So nice kind of limit breakish effect. Being able to just get 2 crits is pretty nice. And also you have like a 5k buff, so it's like 18 with 2 crit, and then on a Persona Ride it's hitting 28. That's pretty nice with an Amida Maru setup as well, right? Yeah, that's good. That's good. Also, like it's like a half Persona Ride immediately when you Oversoul, so that's nice as well, right? But then it's got some other support. Let's look at the Overtrigger for this set as well. The additional effect for the Overtrigger is choose one of your opponent's Vanguards and deal a damage. So just deal a damage, straight up deal a damage. If they're at 5, you can deal a damage and they're just dead, right? If you trigger this, this is an order as well. It's an over order, I guess, like Overtrigger order. The play effect of the order is Oversoul. If your Vanguard is Oversoul this turn, retire all of your opponent's Regards. So just a straight up field wipe. You do lack a 50k shield though, so that's kind of sad, but you have a field wipe and deal a damage. I think just because this deals a damage, it's already a pretty good Overtrigger effect, so feels like you should just run it, right? Look at it. Look at some of its support here, right? We've got Jan. Her effect is very simple. When this unit is placed on the Regard circle, Soul Blast 3, draw a card, and countercharge 1. Now, in this set, you're going to see a lot of things that Soul Blast for quite a lot, right? Soul Blast 3 is pretty hefty. But just keep in mind, because this set has a lot of cards that kind of go into Soul, or Oversouls, basically put something into Soul, you can kind of afford these heavy costs. And this effect is pretty good. Draws a card and countercharges. So 2 things you like doing, right? 2 good things you like doing. A combo is with Deity of Sun and Justice Shamash. So this effect is on the Regard circle. When this unit boosts a unit with John in its card name, put a card from your hand into your soul, so it gets a soul, so pretty nice. Your opponent chooses a card from their hand and they may discard it. If no cards were discarded, choose 2 of your opponent's Regards, retire them, and this unit gets power plus 10,000 until the end of turn. So if they don't discard, right, which is like, you're basically trading a 1-for-1 by putting a card from your hand into soul, but you're also kind of plussing because soul is resource. If they don't do that, you pop 2 of their stuff and you get 10k. And the 10k makes a strong column. Turn 5, they also force the guy, which is way more than 1 card. It's like at least 2 cards, right? So overall, this is it's okay. At least it's okay. Doesn't require any counterblast or soul. But you know, still putting a card from your hand to your soul is kind of annoying. And if your opponent just doesn't have anything on the field, you're basically trading 1 card for like 10,000 power, right? So that's nice. It also has to boost John, right? So that's to boost John. So that's like the other annoying thing. But that is the Spirit and Shaman combo. You'll find a lot of these like you know, the Spirit and the Shaman will have a bit of a combo where they give each other effects or they're able to call them out. This is just one of them, right? We're gonna see a bunch of them. This is Goddess of Victory Anna Kyoyama. This is Yo support, and it's actually really good. So auto on the back row center Regard circle. When the attack of your Vanguard Asakura Yo in its card name does not hit, counterblast 1, rest this unit, choose one of your Vanguards, stand it, and it gets dry -1 until the end of turn. So you don't actually need to discard any cards, just straight up stand, and just you get -1 drive, but you know, you're basically counterblast 1 for a 1 drive is pretty good. Also, they're forced to guard. Remember, Yo gets crit, so they're gonna be guarding that earlier, and you're gonna be able to restand earlier with Anna. And although you're forced to put on the back row center column, your Yo will at least be hitting for 18k because of that first Oversoul effect. And if it's a Persona Ride, it's 28. It's still pretty strong. 228s, amazing. And you get to, like, because of the Oversoul as well, you clear out your back row to put the Anna down. So that's a nice little gimmick there. And then we saw this card, the Man with Abundant Sympathy, Wooden Sword Ryu. So this effect is cont on the Guardian Circle. If your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, and you do not have a Vanguard with Wooden Sword Ryu in its card name, this unit gets shield 10k. So it's pretty just straightforward 15k shield if you're not running a Wooden Sword Ryu deck. So pretty nice, just value shield is good. Especially when you don't have the 50k shields from the Overtrigger. Just running this like just for the shield. Nice, right? Nice. Simple card. This is a pretty interesting order that we've kind of seen. So play this if you have a unit with Anna Kyoyama in its card name. Choose 2 of your opponent's units and their original power becomes 0. So it's a blitz order. So you do it on your opponent's attacks and you basically like minus their original powers. So it's like one of this order for 2 of their attacks might be pretty good. Just do bear in mind that if a lot of your opponent's unit gains a bunch of power, you're not minusing much. You're not minusing much, right? But it seems okay. It seems okay. And then lastly, we saw this card as well, Spiritualism. If you have a unit with Anakyuyama in its card name, play this with Counterblast 1 and search your deck for up to 1 spirit unit card, call it to the Regard Circle, and shuffle your deck. This basically just allows you to search for your Amida Marus, and bam, you're rocking, right? You're rocking. So that is pretty much the deck. A lot of the key pieces of the deck. The only thing we didn't really explain is the nulls and the triggers, but the triggers are pretty self-explanatory. But yeah, let's kind of move on to the next deck, right? The next deck is the Tauren deck, right? So another interesting card. We're gonna look at the ride line here. We're gonna look at this, the spirit of fire with the Howl combos, and he's also just running. We've already seen this card as well, and there's also a angry horse that we're gonna take a look at, and an order. So let's kind of go through the Tauren deck. So the grade 1 Tauren is hatred towards the Tau family Tauren. When this unit is placed on the Vanguard Circle by writing from Tauren, which is the grade 0, search your deck for up to 1 Warlord serving the Tau family Basson, and call it to your back row center Regard Circle, and shuffle your deck. So it calls this, which is Basson, right? And this has another effect. This is auto in the drop zone. So when your grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Tauren in its card name is placed on the Vanguard Circle, if you have no units with Basson in their card names, you may call this the Regard Circle. And you may only call 1 of this card if you have 2 in the drop. So this basically has no effect when you call it from the grade 1. But later on, you know, you're gonna suck it in likely for oversouling your Soul Blast out, and then, you know, when you Persona Ride, you can call it back. So it's pretty good. It's not bad. It's not like just free cards, right? The grade 2 here is Battle of Fate Tauren. When this unit attacks while boosted by a Regard with Basson in its card name hits, draw a card. So your grade 1 calls a Basson, and then this one, it boosts this guy hits, you draw a card. And I mean, 18k on like a 10k base, it's an annoying number to guard. So you're likely just getting it, right? You're likely getting it. If you're bashing on a grade 1, you're likely getting it as well. So just because of that grade 1 hold boost, you can draw a card. Otherwise, not really a crazy effect or something. And then the grade 3 is Unwavering Heart Tauren. So Oversoul Act, Vanguard Circle once per turn. Counterblast 1 and put a Regard with Basson in its card name into your soul. Retire all of your opponent's front row Regards, and this unit gets power plus 10k until the end of turn. If you retired 1 or less Regards, your opponent chooses a card from their hand and discards it. So ideally, you only want to retire 1. You want to pop another card. You'll want to pop just 1 of their cards in their front row, and then this will take care of the other card and force your opponent to discard. So that's pretty good, right? Hand discard is always nice, and also gets power. And then the second effect is when this unit attack hits, search your deck for up to 1 grade 3 or greater card with Tauren in its card name, reveal it, and put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. So you're searching for this guy. You're searching for copies of him. If it hits, bam, Persona Ride next turn, and you just continue Persona Riding, and then you continue calling your Basson from your drop zone, and life is good, right? Life is good. Now, let's kind of look at the rest of the deck, some of the combos. This is Spirit of the Strongest Horse in History, Hey Tau. This is, so when this unit boosts a unit with Tauren or Basson in its card name, your opponent has no front row units, front row Regard, sorry, this boosted unit gets power plus 10k until the end of turn, to that battle, sorry, to the end of that battle. So it's just an 18k boost, which is pretty nice. Will make your Taurens hit, right, which is cool. And then the other card here, we got the Spirit of Fire. So when your opponent's Regard is retired, this is a Regard circle effect. When your opponent's Regard is retired by a card effect, if you have a unit with Howl in its card name, you may soul charge 1. And then the second Regard circle effect is when this unit attacks a Vanguard. If you have a unit with Howl in its card name, this unit gets power 20k and critical plus 1 into the end of into that battle. So sounds pretty cool, you know, 20k in a crit, but you forget that he's the Spirit. So he basically means he can start doing 1 damage, not 2 damage. But it being like a 33k hitter with such an easy effect is pretty nice. It's actually pretty nice. And just kind of, it works pretty well, right? Works pretty well. The next card we're looking at is Man of Stars Howl. So auto Regard Circle, when your 5 great spirits, Spirit of Fire, in the same column as this unit attacks, you can rest this unit, choose one of your opponent's Regards and retire it. So this is kind of cool, you know, it's a Howl, so it helps your Spirit of Fire. You don't have to retire a front row Regard, you can retire like a back row Regard, which is cool. So you're controlling the field and you're forcing your opponent to guard so they don't get personalized and things like that. It's pretty nice. If you wipe the front row, you also discard a card from the hand, so all good. And the second Howl we have is Future King Howl, so this is Act Regard Circle once per turn. Soul Blast 3, so we get a high Soul Blast count, but remember, we have Oversoul and other cards that, you know, soul in. So choose one of your opponent's Regards and retire it, and this unit gets critical plus 1 until the end of turn. So straight up to the plus 1 crit is pretty nice. This does have 1 crit as well, because it's a Shaman, so this is hitting for 2 crit. And although it doesn't get any extra power, you're also retiring one of your opponent's regards, which is nice, right? Retire another regard. You can do like a pseudo field wipe while controlling damage and things like that. So that's actually pretty nice. But it's a Hao name, so it helps your Spirit of Fire. And then lastly, we have the Super Honyohyaki, which is the order card. This is, you can only play this if you have a unit with Tauren in its card name. You choose a card with Bason in its card name from your soul. Call it to the regard circle, so you stuck it in, then call it out, and it gets power 10,000 and critical +1 until the end of the turn. If your Vanguard with, what should be Tauren, in its card name is Oversoul this turn, choose one of your opponent's regards and retire it. So this is like a cool combo, right? So, you suck in one of your how do you call it? Your Basons, you pop. You get the combo going, and then you call the guy out. Now he gets like 18. He's like 18k with crit, right? So he can deal a damage. So yeah, cool. And then you retire one of your opponent's back row. So another field wipe. So everything is retiring your front row, retiring their back row, forcing your opponent to discard. You're like forcing your opponent to guard and things like that. So pretty nice. All good, right? So let's move on to the next one. Or we can just quickly look at this thing again. All right. Oh, look, nice, cool. Look, crazy, man. Big fiery dudes. He's also running the 15k shield. Right, 15k shield. They're running they only put 2 of this in. So that's pretty interesting too. All right, let's look at the next deck. We've got Horohoro, right? So this is basically, spoilers, this is like the Zorga of Shaman King. The interesting cards here is the ride line itself. We've got the 2 green, I think, Jiangshis, right? We've got the Koro kind of support. We've already seen Hao. And then, because, you know, Horohoro is kind of the Zorga, right? It has its own orders, so we can take a look at that too. But keep in mind, also these Koro triggers are also quite important. Let's kind of look at the deck, right? So first we got Koro Pokuru is a friend Horohoro. So it's pretty hard to say that in English, to be fair. When the unit is placed on Vanguard Circle by writing from Horohoro, search your deck for up to 1 Koro Pokuru Kororo, call it to your back row center regard circle, and shuffle your deck. Okay, and then the second one is Initiative Victory Horohoro. This is the grade 2. Auto Vanguard Circle. At the end of the battle, that this unit was boosted by a unit with Horohoro in its card name. Put a card from your hand into your soul. Search your deck for up to 1 Horohoro order. Reveal it and put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. So that Kororo comes out from the grade 1. And it got the +2k regard circle effect. And then third one is Let's Go All Out Horohoro. So continuous Vanguard Circle. During your turn, you can play 2 orders. And if you play 2 orders this turn, this unit gets drive +1. So you want to keep on playing 2 orders to get that extra drive. The Oversoul effect is once per turn, activate, put a regard with Horohoro in its card name into your soul. Choose a Horohoro order from your drop, put it to your hand, and this unit gets power +5,000 until the end of turn. It's pretty nice. You play orders, and then you can salvage them back next turn, which is cool. Right? It's cool. Anyway, the next card we can look at is the Koro Pokuru Kororo, which is the card that you should call out from the grade 1. All right? Yeah. So act in the drop zone if you have a Vanguard with Horohoro in its card name. If that unit is not Oversoul this turn, bind this card, choose a trigger unit with Kororo in its card name from your drop, and call it to the regard circle. So this basically will allow you to Oversoul when you haven't Oversouled, right? You basically, like, you call it out, then you call it out from the grade 1. Then you Oversoul with this, you Soul Blast it out, now it's in the drop zone. You can bind it to use one of your triggers, the Kororo triggers, to put on the field, and then you can suck it in with Horohoro to do the Oversoul again. So that's pretty cool. Then these are the orders, right? So we've got the Cao Priwenpei. Horohoro order. Play this if you have a unit with Horohoro in its card name. Choose one of your opponent's back row units. Your opponent moves that unit to an open front row regard circle, and if it could not be moved, they retire that unit. Then choose a Horohoro order other than Cao Priwenpei from your drop, and you may put it into your hand. If you put a card, bind this card. So this is free as well. This is basically free. Just play this, you get a card back, and then you can play that card to get a drive. So pretty good, right? It actually just doesn't minus, and just kind of it only pluses in a way. It has a decent effect, and it lets you get your other order, right? Second order here is Emis no Kipen Koru. If you have a unit with Horohoro, you play this with Counterblast 1, so it has a cost. You draw cards to replace itself. Choose one of your Vanguards with Horohoro in its card name, and it gets power plus 10,000 to the end of turn. You can, like, ideally, you know, you combo this with the Cow. And then the last one is Mososo Kruppe. So if you have a Horohoro, you play it with a Soul Blast 1, and then draw a card, choose one of your opponent's front row reguards. That unit cannot stand during the next stand phase. So this is also just doesn't require counterblast. You also draw cards to replace itself. So these orders have very little impacts, small impacts, only annoying impacts basically, but it's very, very easy to play down because they don't have heavy costs, and one of them searches the other, right? So yeah, that's pretty nice. And like this one, you can only rest, you can only choose front row reguards, but the cow calls it to the front row, so you can make it not stand. So yeah, that's nice. And then the other one we have is Daoshi Taojin. Activate Regard Circle, Counterblast 1, and rest this unit. Choose one of your Jiangxi Li Pyrons in the same column as this unit, and it gets power plus 15,000 until the end of turn. If Jiangxi Li Pyron is not on your Regard Circle, choose a Jiangxi Li Pyron from your drop and call it to the Regard Circle. So, it gives power, but if you don't have it, then sure, you can pull it out, right? So that's pretty cool. But then the Jiangxi here, right? The Jiangxi Li Pyron, auto Regard Circle, when you play a normal order, this unit gets power plus 5,000 into the end of turn. So that's pretty cool, right? Because it's you play 2 orders in this deck, so you'll get 5k twice, so it's 18 by itself. If you use Tao Jun's effect, it also gets 15k on top, so you'll be hitting for 33. And then, you know, with the Persona Ride, it's like plus 10k, right? And then but you're going like, hey, hang on. But you know, spirits don't have crit, right? But this one does, because it's a Jiangxi. And Jiangxi's, I think, like zombies, like Chinese zombies. So it has a physical form, so it can deal 1 damage. Doesn't need to get a crit to deal damage. So that's pretty, I guess it's pretty nice. Right, so yeah, this gets quite a lot of power, but if you don't have it, then you can call it out with Taojun, and it becomes like at best 18k and 28 if you Persona Road, right? So that's pretty cool. So that is basically the Horohoro deck, right? Zorga, pretty much Zorga. He's running Howl, we've already seen it, but yeah, Zorga.deck, right? Next we have is another deck that's pretty interesting. It's Faust. Right, Faust, this deck is actually very different, and if you're an Orphis player, this is kind of the deck for you, right? We're going to take a look at the ride line. There's the Calcium Giant, that's interesting. We've got Eliza as well that we're going to take a look at, and then the order, right? So let's kind of look at Faust, right? Unusual sign, Faust 8. So when this unit is placed on Vanguard Circle by riding from Faust 8, discard 5 cards from the top of your deck, choose up to 1 card with Eliza in its card name, from a drop, and put it into your hand. It's pretty good. Just milling and get an Eliza. Nice. And then Inheriting Madness, Faust V11 VIII, right? So auto, when this unit is placed on Vanguard Circle by riding from Unusual Sign, Faust 8, Counterblast 1, discard 5 cards from the top of your deck and put all Necromancy from your drop into your hand. That is the order. And then he gets the 2k thing. The Necromancy is pretty interesting. This is the key card of the entire deck. So this is a set order. So play this if you have a unit with Faust 8 in its card name. When this unit is put into your order zone, look at the top 2 cards from the top of your deck, chip to 1 Eliza in it, and reveal it and put it into your hand and discard the rest. And then act in the order zone. If you have a Vanguard with Faust 8 in its card name, bind 3 cards from your drop, pull up to the same number of Bone Soldier tokens as the number of Necromancy in your order zone. So, if you have 4 Necromancies in your order zone, you can bind 3 and call 4 Bone Soldiers. But if you only have 1, you only call 1. Now, the key thing from this is you bind 3 from a drop, but it's also not limited to once per turn. So you can bind 3, call a bunch of Bone Soldier tokens, use them for something like something in Calcium Giant, and then use Necromancy again to call more things. Which sounds alright, right? Sounds alright. It's not a hard once per turn. You know? It's not capped. So the Bone Soldier tokens are literally just like 5k boosters. Like grade 0 5ks. So not crazy, but early game I guess you can call like 2 5k tokens and make it 10k, and that's a nice it's nice boost. So yeah, pretty cool. Then we got the grade 3 ride line with his beloved Faust 8, right? So Oversoul, act Vanguard Circle once per turn, put a Regard with Eliza in its card name into your soul, countercharge 1, choose up to 1 normal unit with Eliza in its card name from your drop zone and call it to the Regard Circle. And then the second effect is act Vanguard Circle once per turn, counterblast 1 and retire 3 Bone Soldier tokens, choose up to 1 Calcium Giant from your hand or drop and call it to the Regard Circle. So yeah, pop in those Bone Soldiers to get the Calcium Giant. And yeah, it's pretty nice. So let's look at some of these. Well, let's look at Calcium Giant first. Calcium Giant, you cannot normal call it to a Regard Circle, so you have to use it you have to call by a force effect. And when this this unit gets power plus 5,000 for each necromancy in your order zone. So multiple necromancies buff this quite a lot, maximum plus 20k. And at the end of the turn, you retire this unit. So he just dies. And it already has a crit, so you don't have to worry about it. So yeah, this is pretty cool. You can call it from the drop zone. You can discard it for ride lines. That's pretty nice. And just sack your dodgy bone soldiers for the calcium giant, right? Calcium giant. And then the Eliza cards are pretty important. Beloved wife Eliza. Regard circle. If your Vanguard with Faust 8 in its card name is oversold this turn, this unit gets plus 10k and a crit, so it's able to deal damage. There's 0 crit because it's a spirit. And then auto regard circle. At the end of the battle, this unit attacked, counterblast 1 and retire 3 bone soldier tokens and stand this unit, right? So the perfect idea is you oversoul, you have persona ride, you sack like 3 of your tokens for a calcium giant, then you pull 3 tokens out again. And then you have this Eliza on the side that can restand combos, right? Combos. 28k twice. Pretty nice, right? Pretty nice. And then the other Eliza is Embodied Appearance Eliza. Cont regard circle. During the battle, this unit boosted a unit with Faust 8 in its card name. This unit gets power plus 5,000. So just, if you boost Faust to 30k. Pretty cool. Right, pretty cool. This deck actually sounds pretty fun because it's just totally different. The other cards, the sample deck is running just Howl and the Wooden Soldier Ryu guys, so we've already seen that before. That's pretty straightforward. But one thing to notice, that if you mill one of your necromancies past your grade 2, right, you kind of lose it forever, because there's not really any good way to, there doesn't seem to be a way for you to salvage the necromancy apart from riding grade 2 and going, yeah, I guess get all my necromancies back. So be careful, I guess. Yeah, bad beats if they get sent to the damage zone, I guess, right? It's not great. Anyway, onto the last deck we have is the Wooden Sword Ryu. We'll look at the ride line here. We'll look at this busted grade 2 that they clearly do not want to put in every single deck. And yeah, it's kind of it. We'll go through all of that. And this dude, I've got his name and his friend. And this order. So let's kind of go through it, the ride line. So this grade 1 is called You Want to Go Wooden Sword Ryu. When this unit is placed on Vanguard Circle by riding from Wooden Sword Ryu, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck, choose up to 1 in search of the best place or Ryu's friends from among them, reveal it and put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. So what are these cards that you are getting? You are getting this order. It's called In Search of the Best Place. Play this if you have a unit with Wooden Sword Ryu in its card name. Order zone, the Ryu's friends on your Regard Circle cannot be chosen by your opponent's card effects and cannot be retired by your opponent's card effects. So they kind of stick there, which is pretty nice. Second effect is auto on order zone. When you play another In Search of the Best Place, put this card into your soul, choose one of your Vanguards with Wooden Sword Ryu in its card name, and it gets critical +1 into the end of turn. So being able to smack for 2 crits is pretty nice. And look at Ryu's friends. This is like this fat dude with a huge mouth. Alright, so you may have up to 9 Ryu's friends in the deck. And then the second effect is Con Regard Circle. During the battle that your unit with Wooden Sword Ryu in its card name or Ryu's friends is attacked, this unit gets intercept. So, you can kind of meet shield with this dude. Bear in mind that you cannot intercept from the back, right? Because it doesn't get an intercept from back effect. It has to be at the front. So, yeah, just bear in mind. It's not as good as you might think it is. It is also only 7k power. So slightly weaker than normal. The grade 2, Man Who Became Big, Wooden Sword Ryu. So active Vanguard Circle costs Soulblast 1 card with Wooden Sword Ryu in its card name. Search your deck for up to 1 Ryu's friends, pull it to the Regard Circle and shuffle your deck. And then the second effect is Con Regard Circle, it just gets the +2k. So you can get another one of Ryu's friends of the grade 2. And the grade 3 is Eternal Traveler Wooden Sword Ryu. So when this unit is placed on the Vanguard Circle, search your deck for up to 1 in search of the best place, reveal it, and put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. So, every time you ride this, or Persona ride, you can search for that order, and then give your crit to Vanguard and things like that. So, and then the Oversoul is active Vanguard Circle once per turn. Counterblast 1 and put a Regard with Tokagero in its card name from your into your soul, and all of your units get power plus 5,000 at the end of turn for each in search of best place in your order zone and your soul. So they progressively get bigger and bigger, and this guy gets a crit when you've put one of those best places down this turn. So let's look at Tokagero, Persistent Thief Tokagero. Con Regard Circle, during a turn, this unit gets power plus 2,000, and all of your units with Wooden Sword Ryu in their card names in the same column as that unit get power plus 5,000. So that's pretty nice. If you have the same column like ideally behind Vanguard, right? That gets 5k, this gets 2k, it's a 9k. So suddenly the 7k this card has, the 7k PAL is not that much of a problem anymore, right? I guess another thing to note is that, you know, if you have a bunch of reused friends, right? A friend boosting a friend is like 14, but then putting that best place in Oversoul will make it like 24, and then become 34 and things like that. So it'll get bigger and bigger. Just like something like a 10 plus 7 doesn't really hit anything good. That's kind of sad, right? Then the next Tokagero we have is Head of Bandits Tokagero. Act Regard Circle, counterblast 1, and if until the end of the turn, this unit can attack your opponent's back row unit from the back row. So that's kind of weird, right? It's like, so if this is in the back, you can attack one of their back row units and kind of try and wipe them. It's a bit strange. It's strange. But I guess it's pretty good at sniping Annas, right? If you want to get rid of them. I'm just bearing, yeah, that's pretty funny. And then Con Regard Circle, during a turn, if you have in search of the best place in your order zone, or internal traveler wooden sword Ryu on your Vanguard Circle gets power plus 5,000. So I guess your Vanguard can get really, really big if you have multiples of these. And then this unit is also regarded as reused friends. So it might sound a bit weird, right? Okay, like this becomes a reused friend, so it can't get targeted. But only during your turn. But I guess, you know, when you're playing against other decks which have, you know, interesting orders that can get rid of your things, having not being targeted is pretty good, right? So it's like just it stays there because they can't be well, it can't be chosen by your opponent's card effects. It can't be retired by your opponent's card effects. Yeah, so you just guess that can't be chosen one is just pretty important unless you're playing premium for some reason and you walk into Denial Griffins, but then you have 0 crits. So I don't know why they'll want to Denial Griffin your Togero, right? So that's a pretty interesting card. And then lastly, we have Let's Go at Our Own Place, Your Asakura. So when this unit attacks, this unit gets power 2,000 until the end of that battle for each card in your damage zone. So it gets bigger, right? And then the second effect is Order Regard Circle. When this unit is attacked, Soul Blast 1, and until the end of that battle, this unit does not retire, even if it is it. So it stays bulky. It stays bulky. This card is actually very, very good, right? As you take more damage, if you get 5 damage, this is a 20k hitter. And then it's very hard to get rid of, right? If they want to attack into it, sure, it's 10k, but you can Soul Blast 1 just prevent the attack, like just stop the attack, right? So it's really annoying to get rid of, and I think just a lot of decks will just want to run this card. So actually, the last card is the Big Dreams to Fulfill Horohoro. This one was in the deck. This one just has an Act Regard Circle once per turn. Counterblast 1, choose 2 of your opponent's regards in the same column as this unit, and they cannot stand during your opponent's next stand phase, so just kind of annoying. CB1 is a bit weird. The second effect is Con Regard Circle. During the battle that this unit attacked a grade 3 or greater unit, this unit gets power plus 5,000. So it's just basically the easiest grade 3, not grade 3, but plus 5,000 power in the set, right? So far. So like straight up 15k power boost, right? Not 15k power boost, but 15k hitter. Alright, so yeah, this is basically that deck. We just everything else we've kind of seen before. But yeah, let's kind of look at some top deck lists right now. Some winning deck lists, right? We'll start with the ones that really won some big tournaments. These ones are recent. I kind of explained them before, but we're gonna see some trends, right? We saw this Asakura Yo list. It's running the grade 2 that I said was very good, the team up combo. It's also running the Anna, the restand, and we've seen the John, but they're not running the Shamshu, just straight up just Soul Blast 3, draw 1 counter charge, and the 15k shield for the buff, right? Not running any other orders. So just straight up bash, restand, and just draw and defend, right? So this is another Yo deck. So Yo doing pretty well at the big tournaments. We see it's running the big tag team grade 2, but it's also running Anna as well. But it's got some new cards that we really haven't seen from before. So here we've got this, I think it's Rizelg. And then this one is when it's placed on the Regard Circle, you can counterblast 1, search your deck for a Morphine, and call it to the same column as this card. And then the second effect is when it attacks a Vanguard on the Regard Circle, you may look at the top card of your deck and put it to the top or bottom. So it's pretty nice just ranging the top and bottom of the card, of your deck, sorry, and then just getting more triggers, right? And the card that it calls is Morphine. This is the Fairy. So when this is on the Regard Circle, placed on the Regard Circle, you may look at the top card of your deck, and then this unit gets plus 2,000. So it goes from 6 to 8, right? The power line is a bit annoying. Honestly, it's a bit annoying. The second ability is a Con Regard Circle ability. If it's in the same column as your Rizelg, everything in this column that you own can't be the target of your opponent's, or can't be chosen by your opponent's effect, right? So it's pretty nice. The second thing that we haven't seen yet is the Chocolove, and this unit, when this unit is placed on the Reguard circle, for this turn your opponent cannot intercept, and then you can Soul Blast True and search your deck for up to Jaguar Mick and call it to the same column as this unit, and then shuffle your deck. And the Jaguar Mick is just a grade 1. On the Reguard circle auto effect, when this unit boosts, this gets 2k, so it's basically just a 10k booster. But if it boosted Chocolove instead, it gets 5k instead. So this is a nice combo. It's 10k grade 2 boosted by 13k grade 1. 23 easiest column you'd ever make in your life, right? So that's basically the two cards. One is a top deck checker and one is just a free column, and then you kind of make them bigger with the Asakura. Like, you can probably, I think some people just run Rezelg by itself as well, because, you know, 10k is bad, but, you know, with Yo it becomes 15. You can check top deck, and that's kind of good enough, right? So pretty nice. But let's kind of move on to some other decks as well. Some more local lists to see everything else, right? Okay, so here we got another local list. This is another Yo list. We can just kind of see the spirit combos here, right? So we've got the Rezelg and the Morphine that we kind of explained before. We've got the Johns here. Then we've got the Howls with the Spirit of Flame. Only one Spirit of Flame, it seems, and then the Amida Maru combo here, and then some orders. So I think one of these is the spirit, two of these is the Spiritualism. And the last one is Tathagata, which we haven't really seen yet. It's also from the TD, I think. But it's just, you can only play it, you've got Yo in its card name, you have a Reguard with Amida Maru in its card name, choose one of your Vanguards with Yo in its card name, and it gets power plus 10,000, so nice power boost. And then you have no Reguards with Amida Maru in their card name, just choose a card with Amida Maru in its card name from your drop zone, and call it to the Reguard circle. So yeah, it's got that kind of, you know, link kind of thing, right? And then I think the last Yo list that we're going to see here, we'll go through it kind of quickly again. Spirit of Flame with Howl combo. Looks like only 2 Howls though, so pretty crazy. Then we got the good grade team upgrade 2 of the Annas, only 3 Annas. But then we got the Chocolove kind of combo there as well, and that's the entire deck. So pretty simple. Next, we can see a Tauren deck. So Tauren, this one is comboing with the Howls as well, right? And then we have similar to the build that we saw in the Bushi thing. Actually, it looks very similar. So it's got 4 of the horse, I guess, and then it's got 2 of the Basson, and then 3 orders. But then he's also running this one order. This order is actually just a very simple card. It's just a CB1. Play it, look at the top 2 cards of your deck, choose a card from one of them, put it into your hand, and then put the rest into your soul. So not really that crazy. Otherwise, the rest of the deck just looks very similar to the one that we saw before from the Bushiro version, right? The next here is another Tauren one. This is running more of the Basson, but also running John and the wooden Ryu, basically. Big shield Ryu. Right, it's also running, well, John and the Shamashu combo, right, and then the horse here. No Howlers this time. We've also got another Tauren here as well. This one is when this unit attacks while not boosted, you can CB1 and it gets power 10,000 to the end of that battle. And then the second effect is on the Reguard circle. When this unit attack hits a grade 3 or greater Vanguard, discard a card from your hand, and your opponent is forced to discard a card as well. And they're both Reguard effects, so kind of just this nice gimmicky kind of thing. But yeah, kind of a different Tauren deck from the others. Next is another one as well. This one is just that Spirit of Flame, 4 Basson, and then 3 order, and just very simple, right? Just very simple. It's also got the Tauren as well that forces discard. Yeah, Howl combo, and then Taurens. They're very easy. Next, let's look at some Faust, right? So different way to build Faust, it looks like. He's running the Howl for the extra crit, it looks like. And then he's got this horse. This horse is basically just coming to play. Look at top 2 for an Eliza or a Faust 8. And then discard the rest. So very simple effect. But otherwise, the rest of it is just what you'd expect, right? Eliza support, the 4 Necromancies. Only 2 Calcium Giants because you can keep on just reusing 1. So just pretty good, right? Pretty good times. And then lastly, we've got another Faust here. Oh yeah, they've got another Faust. They've got a new Faust. So this Faust is just it's got an axe skill on the Reguard circle that's once per turn. You CB1, choose a card with Eliza in this card name from your drop and call it to the Reguard circle in the same column as this unit. And the second effect is auto Reguard circle. When this unit attacks, you can discard 2 cards from the top of your deck, and this unit gets power 2,000 till the end of that battle. So it's like your Ruin Shadish effect. But otherwise, it's also running looks like 1 John and 3 of the Ryu for defense. The rest of it is just pretty much the Faust stuff that we've seen before, right? And then lastly, we have a Ryu deck, right? A Ryu deck here. This is just running the Ryu stuff. Also running the Rezelg and the Morphine, just to check top deck. only running 3 friends, so not many friends in this deck, and then also running 3 Howl, because, you know, extra crit is nice. That's basically it. That's basically it. A very simple, just put in a bunch of spirit combos that you like, and I think the deck is pretty much done, as long as you know what your main deck does. It's basically all the lists. So yeah, what do you guys think of Shaman King? Do you want it to come out? Are you hyped? Are you hyped for Shaman King? Do you watch the anime? This is one of those series where I read all the way to the last few chapters and stopped reading. Or was it the last arc? I can't remember. Just very, very long time ago. But yeah, it should bring a lot of players into the game, right? That's what counts. Right? That's what counts. So let me know what you guys think. And you know, tomorrow we're gonna have VG top decks. I'm sure we're gonna see more Shaman King, and this time I can talk about them more. All right. So yeah, be sure to tune in, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right. Bye.